Good evening. Good evening, friends. Welcome to this evening's Beyond the Pain live video. Good evening. Good evening. Just need to do some cross check and see who is with me. Hallelujah. Good evening. It's always a joy to come here and share with us on our journey going beyond the pain, going beyond our painful experiences and living a life that is full of hope, that is full of courage, full of expectation of a future that is filled with possibilities. And that is, it's so encouraging to know that there is something, that can come out of our painful experiences that gives us a hope for a future. And before I start off this evening, just want to make sure that, praise be to God. Yeah. All right. Tonight I want to talk about living a life that is unrestricted by our painful experiences, whether it is past or it is present. Good evening, and welcome to Beyond the Pain live video. We come here every Tuesday evening as God gives grace and strength to share with one another on our journey of how we can overcome what life has thrown at us and transform that experience to something that is meaningful, something that is powerful, something that is purposeful, and then go from there to, see a future of possibilities that not only brings hope to us, but also brings hope to those who are around about us. Like I said, this evening I want to talk to us about living a life that is unrestricted by our painful experiences, whether it is past or present. And what do I mean by this? As you all may know, we have been advertising our Writing for Healing workshop, which started last week, Saturday. And it's going to be a 6-week course that at the end of which I am trusting God that those who have taken the step to take part in this course will have a life-transforming, impact. It will have a life-transforming impact for them. It will also help them to find healing for the emotional pains that they have endured, and also give them the opportunity to transform that pain, to something that can bring hope and encouragement, not only to them, but also to others in their sphere of influence. And so on the first day, the first module, we were talking about the power of story. And it was in an environment where all the participants could freely share what their own story is. I mean, where they have been, what has happened, and what they are walking through. And having such a safe environment to be able to share, it was so heart-touching. It really, really touched my heart when at the end of it, one of the participants said, I have found a safe place at last. It was such a testimony for me to hear. It was just a beautiful experience for me to hear that. I mean, she said, I have found a safe place for the first time. I am letting go of the fear. I feel so free. And the way she said, I feel so free. I mean, and knowing her story, which she has shared with us, and knowing what she is still going through, her past painful experiences and her present painful experience, and to find a safe place where she could release the tension, release the the burden of the pain that she was bearing with her, that she's been carrying, it was so liberating for her. And hearing the stories of all the participants in the group as well. And you realize that you're not alone. You're not walking this journey of pain and healing from the pain alone. It was such a liberating, it had such a liberating impact on her that she exclaimed, I am free. And the joy that radiated in her, on her face, and, it touched my heart. And it touched me at a deep place. And it made me feel so gratified that after almost 1 year of dreaming about holding this course and actually planning it, and going through some setbacks with it, eventually that course has started. And in the first module, to have such a feedback that of somebody being touched so deeply, for me, it was a sign, it was a signal that, yeah, you're the right path with this. This is something that God has called you to do. And I'm so grateful to God that, despite all the challenges that we met along the way, this course finally took off. And I am so persuaded that it's going to have impact on the lives of those who have taken the step to participate in it. Now, the truth of the matter, my dear friends, is that when pain breaks into our lives, something that shakes our walls, something that's hurtful, something that wounds us, when it breaks into our life, it often comes unannounced, it's uninvited, and it's unexpected. And when the unexpected happens, what do? Pain sneaks on us. It's like an intruder. A painful experience, a traumatic experience, many times does not announce itself. It does not knock the door and ask us to come and open. Many times what happens is that it sneaks in like a thief in the night and creeps on us. It breaks through the back door and enters into our lives. And the thing is that our painful experiences, our traumatic experiences, just wants to take over our lives. It wants to take over our lives. It wants to direct our lives. It wants to dictate how we show up. It wants to tell us how we transact. Painful experience, it can be, the tentacles of our painful experiences can be like a chokehold. That's how controlling it can be. It can really hold us in its tight grip and try to dictate where we go, how we behave. And that's how powerful pain can be. That's how powerful our painful experiences can be. It has the power to be able to direct how we behave in the present. And it has also that power to dictate how we show up in the future. And I've said it times and over again in this space that is too much power to give to something that happened to us. And please, I am not taking out of your experience. I'm not demonetizing what has happened to you. I know it's painful, it's hurtful, it hits you below the belt. But you see, when it takes over our lives, pain tends to open the door to despair. And it can be so controlling that it feels as if we're in a prison in our own lives. And that's why I want to talk to us tonight about living a life that is unrestricted or unbound, unhindered by our painful experiences. And really, that's why we come to this space, because we want to be able to go beyond our painful experiences to live in the liberty that Jesus died to purchase for us, to live the freedom that Jesus died to purchase on the cross, for us, for he whom the Father has set free is free indeed. And when one event in our lives or series of events in our lives now takes hold of our lives and begins to direct how we live a life, that is powerful. That is a lot of power that what happened to us has taken. And it is really easy to allow pain to lead us into despair. That traumatic experience, that disappointment, that failure, that incident that happened to you, it can lead us into despair. And you see, again, despair is life choking. Despair can choke the life out of us. Despair can hold us in a prison. In fact, I have seen to the extent that people who are at the precipice of despair, they don't even want to get out of bed in the morning. They don't see anything to wake up for. They just want to stay in the dark, stay alone, and it can be so isolating. And there is this voice that's going to be singing in your head, nobody cares about me. This voice that says that nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody understands. And this is the voice of pain, speaking through despair. But you see, what despair presupposes is that there is no other, this is the only way this story can end. That there is no other way. There is no other option for us. There is no hope for us. And, believe me, I feel that when a man loses hope, he loses the will to live, because hope is what keeps us going. Hope that of a future that is possible. Hope that of a change that can happen. But when pain tells us that there is no future for us, it is denying us the possibility of experiencing a future that is possible for us. And in that sense, when we, one of the parts of our painful experiences that holds us in its chokehold, that holds us bound, is when we are unable to tell the story of what has happened to us. When we have to harbor the secret of what has happened to us. And believe me, in this space of being a trauma transformational coach, I've heard so many stories. I've heard things that people have kept, hidden for decades, harboring it there. But the truth of the matter is that it never goes. It stays there. It festers there. And so when we get an opportunity to tell the story of what happened to us in a safe place, in a trusted space, how liberating it is when we can share our stories. And like I was sharing with the participants in the Writing for Healing workshop, the story is how we make sense of our lives. Stories is how we make sense of a journey. Stories are part of us. It is how our brain processes information. And we all have our unique stories. And our stories matter. Our stories are powerful. But of course, I'm not going to teach that class here because, I have to honor those who have come into that space to be there. But the truth of the matter is that when we are able to tell the story, you see, shame dies when secrets are exposed in safe places. Guilt also dies because what the devil wants to do is to hold you in its grip. And it tells you that, no, this secret, if you share it, people will look down at you. People will question you. People will judge you. Keep it to yourself. And therefore, he uses that to hold you down. But honestly, it is liberating. It is freeing to be able to release our painful memories. And when we tell our stories in safe places, it helps us to break the shackles of the burden of the secrets that we carry with us. It helps us to break the shackle of the burden of the pain, of the wound that we carry with us. The past is never done except we look at it. We acknowledge the past, the pain that we have experienced, what happened to us, and then we process it. We need to be able to look at it in the face. What we bury beneath the carpet never goes away. Our past is part of our lives, and we can heal from our past painful experiences, and that is what we are here all about, to help us to heal from our past painful experiences. And that's why one of the tools that helps us to heal from pain is writing for healing. Being able to put the things that have happened to us, in words and in a safe place where we can dump all that baggage, all that burden, all that load that we have been carrying with us. And the thing is that no matter how we disguise it, or even how fast we try to run away from it, it never truly goes. With the right trigger, it comes pouring back. And when it does, if it is not in a place where we can receive support to contain it, it can take us in places, in directions that we have, we do not intend, and further re-traumatizing us. Now, keeping secrets is always exerts a colossal cost on us. Okay, let me put it this way. Something happened to you. Sometimes it's the consequence of our own wrong decisions. We've taken a wrong decision, and it has happened as it has led to a spiral of events. Or somebody has wounded us, abused us, or, done things that we feel ashamed. They actually wounded us, and they make us to feel the shame. Because that's sometimes what abusers do. They abuse you and then make you carry the shame of it. And they seem to think that they go scot-free. And so when we hold all of this inside of us, as secrets, it erodes our emotional well-being, and it also erodes our physical well-being. One of the topics that we're going to be talking about in the Writing for Healing course is the impact of harboring secrets on our physical and emotional health. It has significant impact. It has significant effect on us. The Bible even says that he that keeps, secret is deeds that it dries up the bone. And so we all need a safe place where we can release the burden of the past so that it does not corrode our lives. It does not corrode our emotions. It does not, transform us into who God never originally intends for us to be. When we suppress it, when we suppress those events of our lives that have caused us pain, and we try to hide them and bury them, we never truly get to heal from them and integrate them into our experiences. Because the truth of the matter is that they will hold us back. They will keep us stuck in the place where that event happened to us. They keep us stuck where life happened to us. But when we are able to look at that event of our lives that has wounded us, that has caused us pain, and we're able to process it, and we end up healing from it, then we can take the lessons that we learned from it and integrate it into our development, into our growth. And that's why there is a possibility of growth beyond our painful experiences. And you and I want to live a life that is unhindered, that is unrestricted, that is unlimited by the painful experiences of our past, or the painful experiences that we are still going through, because we are not created to be held bound by such events of our lives. Like I mentioned earlier, he who the Father has set free is free indeed. There is a freedom, a liberty that Jesus went to the cross to purchase for you and I. And how are we going to live in the fullness of that freedom if we are being held bound and restricted by our past painful experiences? You and I can live a life of freedom that can find meaning even in the most painful events of our lives. I mean, just mention what that painful event may be. There is something there that you can extract. There is something you can extract from it that can become, valuable lesson. We can take that experience and give it to the hand of the goldsmith, the silversmith, and let the silversmith refine that experience for us so that all the impurities in that experience is consumed in the hand of the fire of the silversmith. And it's a journey that you and I, we will have to consider to work so that process of consuming all the impurities in that experience then brings us to the place where there is something that is valuable, something that is useful that comes out of that painful experience of our lives. And believe me, I have been there. I've seen it happen more times than I can recount, when I have been able to, by the grace of God, take, look at an experience, a painful experience, and what can come out of this? What can I learn out of this? How did this happen? How did we get here? I've shared some of such experiences with you on this page. I remember when I was a victim of calumny, when somebody said things that were really, really painful about me. I mean, it hurt me. I cannot lie. I wept bitterly from the agonizing pain of hearing someone I trusted speak so badly, so vindictively about me. It hurt deeply. I felt like the person was looking at me in the eye and stabbing me right in front of me. But you see, I had an option of allowing that situation to define me. I had the option of taking that person's word and let it define my identity. But I had to, by the grace of God and the help of the Holy Spirit, ask myself, what is true about what this person has said? I sifted it by the grace of God in the light of God's truth. And having sifted it in the light of God's truth, I could boldly say, this is not my identity. This is not me. Because this is not who God says I am. This is not who I have been, by the grace of God, thriving and working hard to be. And therefore, I refuse to believe what this person had to say about me, and refuse to let that person's opinion define who I am. And that comes from the place of knowing who God says I am, having a correct understanding of my identity that refused to be shaken by the opinion of other people. And it is in that place that I understood that wounded people wound others. When somebody goes intentionally and deliberately out of their way to wound us, it's because they are wounded. And it helped me to begin to have compassion on that person, to know that the person was speaking from a wounded place. The person needed help. And I could show compassion to that person even though I was hurting. And you see, the way we reframe our experiences, it matters. What we process, how we process it, and what we choose to take out of it is significant. It's important. If we are not in a space where we have a correct identity, understanding of our identity, then that's what that person has said can take us off track. or what the people have, what somebody has done to us, can take us off the track and take us to the place of despair. It can lead us to the precipice of despair where you feel that, how? And that can build up anger. It can build up resentment. It can make us feel unworthy. It can erode us of our sense of worth. And I had to say to myself, nobody can erode me of my sense of worth, because I know who defines me, who confers dignity on me, because he created me in his image. And because he created me in his image, he conferred worth on me. He conferred dignity on me. And therefore, no other person's opinion can redefine me or erode me of the dignity and the sense of worth that my creator conferred on me. And the beauty of this is that it will help us, having this correct understanding and knowledge will help us not to be restricted and be held bound and be shackled by the pain of that experience. Because if I had not that knowledge of who I am, believe me, what happened that time would have led me to depression, to despair, to, a sense of, unworthiness, and it's doubting who I really am. One thing is sure, that no matter how deep our scars may be, no matter how deep the scars from our painful experiences may be, there is a future that is available to you and I. And we need to believe in that possibility of a future beyond what that person has done to us or that painful experience. Because not believing in the possibility of a future is saying that that person has more control over our destiny than the one who created us in his image. I want you to pause and ponder on that. And I strongly believe that that is a lot of power to give to the person who has hurt us. It's a lot of power to give to the person who has wounded us. It's a lot of power to give to the person who has caused us so much pain. To also give them the power to redefine who we are. That is too much power. It is too much power to give to somebody who has wounded us, to tell us that there is no hope for us, that there is no future for us. That is keeping us in a prison of that painful experience. There's a quote that I read today that really was meaningful for me. And it gave me such an assurance that you and I, we have a future to look forward to, no matter what has happened to you, no matter the pain that you have experienced, no matter the pain that you may still be experiencing now. There is a future of possibilities that is available to you. And you can live even now in this present in a freedom that comes from healing, despite the struggles, despite the memories of what has happened to you. There is a future that is possible for you, and there is a present right now of a life that is free from the shackles of the pain that we have suffered. A life that is free from the stronghold of our past painful experiences or present painful experience. And why this is important is that how we transact in the present is critical. How we transacting with hope? Are we transacting in the liberty that Jesus died to purchase for us, despite the memories and the struggles of our past painful experiences? Because if we are not, it means that that experience is still holding us in its clutches. It is holding us in its tentacles. And that is not the abundance of life that Jesus came for you and I to have. We cannot live with the abundance of life when the shame, the guilt of the past holds us bound. We cannot live the fullness of life when the wounds are festering in our heart and it's translating to resentment, to anger, to a vengefulness. No, we can't. But I'm offering you a way out, that healing is possible. Living in freedom is possible. Living a life unrestricted by our past or present painful experiences is possible. Even when what we are going through as a consequence of our own wrongful actions, as a consequence of our own mistakes, errors, flaws, even in it, forgiveness is available for you and I. And when we embrace that forgiveness that comes from the place of emotional healing, and that also brings emotional healing to us, because that's what forgiveness does. It helps us to experience the healing that is possible for us in our emotions. You can live in liberty. You can live a life that is unhindered, unshackled by the events that have wounded you. Let me read this quote to you. The sad things that happened long ago will always remain a part of who we are, just as the glad and the gracious things will do. But instead of being a burden of guilt, recrimination, and regrets that makes us constantly stumble as we go, even the saddest things can become, once we have made peace with them, a source of wisdom, strength for the journey that still lies ahead of us. Even the saddest things, even our most painful experience, when we process them and we heal from them, can produce wisdom, can produce strength that can become available for us for the journey ahead of us. But that means we see a possibility of a journey ahead of us beyond the pain. It means that we are willing to see a hope of a new beginning. It means that we are willing to accept that where life happened to us is not the end of the story of our lives. That there is a possibility of writing a new chapter. I may not be able to go back and rewrite the story of my past because I do not have control over what happened to me. But I have control over what I do with what happened to me. I have in my hands, with the help of the Holy Spirit and with the support of professionals, I can rewrite a new story. I can rewrite a new chapter beyond that chapter of pain, of failure, of disappointment, of regret, of shame, of guilt. Because all those will hold you back to the past. Shame will hold you back to the past. Regret will hold you back to the past. Guilt will hold you back to the past. Resentment will hold you back to the past. And what I'm asking you is to give yourself the opportunity to experience a future that is possible for you. The failure of your past need not be the final chapter of your story. We need to believe that there is a future of possibilities that is available for us. And believing that alone is liberating. And that is what people experience at these workshops that I organize, Writing for Healing. It's believing that there is a possibility of a new future, a possibility of a new chapter available for you beyond where life happened to us. And knowing that we have someone who can redeem our past brings that possibility and makes that possibility so vivid for us that we can live in the liberty of that knowledge. We can live in the freedom that knowledge brings, that I have a Redeemer. He redeems my pain. He rescues my past. He buys back. He is a God of second chances. He sets free. He sustains. He protects. He is truly the God that gives second chances to those who throw themselves into his arms genuinely and say that, yes, this is what has happened. These are my mistakes. But I believe that you can redeem it. And even when you are faultless, you didn't make the mistake, you did not go looking for this trouble, but this trouble came to you, we can still hand it over to the Redeemer and let him redeem us and set us free. You cannot change what happened in the past, but you can allow God to help you to redeem it. You can break free from the shackles of your past painful experiences, or you can let your past painful experience break you and keep you broken. Let me say that to you again. You have a choice here. You can break free from your past, the shackles of your past painful experiences, or you can allow your past break you and keep you broken. Your past painful experiences will keep you broken and continue to break you when it keeps you in its shackle and refuse to let you go. But you can say, no, you cannot. I'm no longer a slave to my past. I cannot be a slave to something that happened to me in the past. What happened to me in the past, yeah, I didn't have any control over it. But now I am knowledgeable. I have information available to me. And I can process what happened to me in the past and I can heal from it. I can rewrite a new story. A story of victory. A story of overcoming. A story of experiencing forgiveness for myself. A story in which I show myself compassion, even if I am the one who has made the mistake that brought all of this to me. I can show myself compassion and say, you did it. If I knew better, I would have done better. And it is interesting that many times we even find it difficult to forgive ourselves. And whether the forgiveness is directed at us or at another person, not being able to forgive is also a shackle that holds us back to the past. And there's no way you and I will be able to live a life that is unrestricted, unhindered by our past painful experiences if we do not get to the point where we can let go and let God. If we cannot get to that point where we can forgive and let our Redeemer fight on our behalf. When you don't forgive, you're staying in another stronghold that holds you back. Whether it's you that you need to forgive or somebody else, It is for your own good, ultimately. Forgiveness is not all about the other person, it's always about you. It's about the liberty that you can experience. It's about the freedom that you can enjoy. And even if it is you that you have to forgive. Today I was having a coaching session with one of my clients. And what she was struggling with was actually forgiving herself. She'd made a lot of mistakes and taken a lot of wrong turns. And then on top of that, there are people who have wounded her and hurt her deeply. And we got to a point in that conversation that I had to say to her, how can you forgive others when you can't forgive yourself? How can you forgive somebody who has wounded you if you cannot accept forgiveness for yourself? Forgiveness is a gift that God has given to you. And He's saying that because you have come to me, you have, confessed, you have talked about this, I am forgiving you. It is at no cost to you, but somebody has paid the price on your behalf. And you see, forgiving there's a lot of things that we get to misconstrue about forgiveness. It is not about demonetizing what happened. It's not about allowing the person to go scot-free. It is about you refusing to be held bound to the person who has wounded you. Because for as long as you refuse to let go of the person, you are still bound to your offender. For as long as you have not forgiven and let go, you are still bound to the person who wounded you. How can somebody cause me so much pain in the past, and I'm still held bound to that person now, and I'm taking that person with me to the future? How can I live in freedom, held bound to the person who has wounded me? This is really the crux of the matter when it comes to forgiving and letting go. And I know some of us have suffered really, really painful experiences. We have been wounded in deep places. And you're wondering, how can I forgive that person? My question to you is, how can you not? Do you still want to be held bound to this person? When are you going to consider releasing and letting go? Because the truth of the matter is that when you don't let go, you can't receive the new that is possible for you. The future that is possible for you. When you're still carrying the burden, the baggage of the painful experiences, they're going to hold you back. They're going to keep you stuck. They're going to keep you from advancing. And they're going to keep you from experiencing the fullness of life that is possible for you. And that's so much at stake. It's so much at stake that we cannot afford not to let go of those who have wounded us. There's too much at stake for us to remain bound and restricted by our painful experiences. You and I need to heal from what happened to us, and healing is possible. Healing is possible, and healing is liberating. Healing sets you free to enjoy the life that is possible for you. What happened has happened. We can't remake our past, but we can rewrite our stories. And we can go back and rewrite that past with better understanding now when we rewrite our story, when we tell our story. With God, what happened will not destroy you, even if you have to face and reap the consequences if it is your wrongful action. But I know that there is the grace of God that sustains us through that process. In this space, what I teach us is how to harvest those things that happen to us. Look at it as raw materials and see how we can process it and produce something new from a painful experience. And believe me, I know it is possible because I have done so. I have done so. You know, this week for me is it's a landmark week, because towards the end of this week, 11 years ago, I reached that point in my life that I can say was not only life-defining, but was also life-transforming. I had to agree for both legs to be amputated. At middle age, I lost 2 legs. And it was painful because I did not expect that to happen. It was not the way I planned my life. It was not the future that I had planned for myself and my family, to become a person with disability. I had no control over what had happened, but I had a choice what I was going to do with it. I could go down with it and allow the depression of losing both legs after living such a full, vivacious life. I mean, I was an outdoor person. I loved traveling to beaches. And all of a sudden to find myself as a person with disability. But I had a choice whether I was going to use that as a springboard to a new season of my life. It was an interruption that I didn't expect. It was an interruption that I didn't want. It was an interruption that I didn't ask for. But it brought me a new season. And I chose, by the grace of God, to redefine what that new season was going to be. And today, almost 11 years since I lost my legs, I could still do all the things that I had dreamt. I could travel. And my story my pain has been transformed into something that is meaningful and significant, that is touching the lives of other people for good. Simply because I knew the truth that if I allowed that experience to hold me in its stronghold, the pain of losing both legs to hold me, I will never be able to live the fullness of life that was possible for me. I would never be able to live in the fullness of God's calling for my life. And I would never be able to live in the fullness of my potentials, God-given potentials. And so I decided, by the help of the Holy Spirit, that I was going to obey the instructions of the Holy Spirit, to use my story to inspire hope for others, and to encourage people that there is a life that we can experience beyond our painful experiences. There is a possibility we can transform that pain to power, to purpose, and to profit. And today, it gives me such a great joy to see the number of amputees that are working again because of the foundation that we set up. It gives me such a great joy to see the number of people who are holding to hope of healing because of the work that I do in this space as a transformational coach, a trauma coach. Because after I came out of that experience, I changed my career. I moved from being a scientist, a nutrition scientist, to being a trauma-informed specialist, to be a transformational coach, somebody who helps other people to heal from their painful experiences and find a future of possibilities beyond it. And that's what I've been doing over the past 10 years. See what came out of my painful experiences. The freedom, the liberty that I'm enjoying. Because by the grace of God, I refuse to allow what I had no control over to restrict me, to hinder me, and to limit what is possible for me. And that's the hope that I bring to you in this space. There is hope for you. that you also can experience a life unrestricted by your past or present painful experience. And if you have questions about this and you want to talk about it further, please feel free to send me a private message. That's what I do. I help people to heal from their pain and transform that pain to something meaningful, something that has eternal value, something that can touch the lives of other people for good. And ultimately, it touches your life for good as well when you heal and you see what your story can become, the new chapters that you can write in the story of your life, and how it can help other people, inspire them to hold on to hope, encourage them that is an amazing life beyond our painful experiences. I am a living proof that there is an amazing life beyond amputation. I'm a living proof there is an amazing life beyond living for 20 years with a chronic affliction. I'm a living proof there is an amazing life that is possible, that can impact other people's life for good, despite all the pain of my past. And I pray that you also will find that possibility, that you will embrace that truth so that you can go beyond what happened to you. And it's a journey you don't have to do alone. It's a journey that you can walk with others. And it's not too late if you want to join us for the Writing for Healing course. We've done Module 1, but there's 6 weeks of this course and mentoring that is going to be available for the next 1 year for those who join the course. If you want to receive help and support to experience emotional healing and a safe place where you can tell your story, where you can write your story and heal through writing, please feel free to scroll down this page. You will see links about the course, and I'll also put the link about the course in the comments. Ultimately, my dear friends, we cannot on our own break the shackles of our past painful experience. We need the support of others, but ultimately we need God's grace. With God, it is possible to break free from the strangling hold of the pain of the past. With God, we can live a life of freedom and liberty despite the memories and the scars of what happened to us. I have scars all over me. They are my badges of victory. What did not kill you should not bury you. That experience did not kill you. It should not bury you. There is hope for you beyond your painful experience. There is a life of possibilities for you beyond your painful experiences. The question is, will you take that step of faith to embrace that possibility and live in the fullness of life that Jesus died to purchase for you on the cross at Calvary? My name is ireneolumese. I'm a trauma transformational coach. I help people to heal from their pain and to transform their pain to power, to purpose, and to profit. And I come here every Tuesday evening to encourage you to embark on your journey of emotional healing so that you can embrace the life of possibilities that is available for you beyond the pain. I look forward to seeing you again. I will not be here next week, Tuesday. I will be away, but we'll be back again in the second week of June to continue our conversation. But the training goes on if you would like to join us. And if you need more information about the work we do, please feel free to ask. Thank you for joining me this evening. Good night and God bless you. Bye for now.